People are absolutely losing their minds over the latest AI video generators, and honestly, the pace of change is getting wild. But before you decide which shiny new model to bet your entire creative workflow on, we need to talk about what actually matters. While everyone is chasing the next viral clip, Vizard is quietly solving the real headaches that professional creators have to deal with every single day. It has been an incredibly busy week, with fresh announcements dropping almost hourly across the entire AI landscape. We have a brand new video model that is remarkably curated. Google is continuing their aggressive march with multi-sensory tools, and Adobe just dropped a compositing trick that feels like pure witchcraft. Welcome to your AI Film Roundup, the only version of the news that tells you what actually matters and how to use these tools to make content people care about. Before we dive into the deep technical stuff, I want to send a huge shout out to the Curious Refuge crew in Seattle for hosting such an awesome meetup last week. If you weren't able to make it, definitely check out the community groups because those in-person meetups are absolute gold for swapping workflows and finding inspiration. Alright, let's get into the news, starting with the big buzz right now surrounding a new video generator called ByteDance from the team at ByteDance. What is so interesting about ByteDance is not just that it creates pretty clips, but rather their intense focus on data hygiene. The developers manually curated training clips and specifically excluded logos, subtitles, and violent content from their training set. That curation really shows up in the results, as the model handles natural language prompts well and offers both image-to-video and text-to-video capabilities. They are shipping the model in two distinct flavors, including a lightweight open version and a pro tier specifically aimed at creators who need higher fidelity. The light version can actually run on a local GPU if you have the right hardware, though it is admittedly a bit slow. ByteDance Pro positions itself as direct competition for the big players like Runway and Google's latest models. When you look at the pricing, ByteDance is quite interesting because in some demos it looked significantly cheaper than other major models per clip. That cost difference matters a lot when you are a creator cranking out dozens of different social media cuts every single week. I decided to test the model through a multi-model aggregator so I could jump between different platforms quickly. I fed it a cinematic still of two people chatting in a coffee shop and then asked it to animate a subtle move-in shot with a short line of dialogue. The results were surprisingly characterful, featuring faces that held expression well and believable micro-movements throughout the frame. It even handled native 1080p output up to a 12-second clip without any major hitches. When I pushed it by asking the subject to suddenly sprint, it kept the character consistent across frames and even respected small props. I also tried a mixed media prompt where I placed an animated frog into a photorealistic environment. ByteDance handled these hybrid scenes well. The facial animation for the frog was not perfect, but it was expressive and convincing enough for social formats. Now, you are probably asking how this actually stacks up against the other new kids on the block. I ran a head-to-head test against Hilu 2 and Google V3 to see how they perform in real-world conditions. Hilu 2 gave a generally nice result, but sometimes the motion got a bit soft or jittery. V had more punch in the facial expression and even generated audio along with the clip, which is neat if you want a one-and-done file. However, the upscaling step for V3 is a recurring problem that we simply cannot ignore. It outputs at 720p natively, and when you up-res in their pipeline, you often get harsh, oversharpened edges that break the realism. ByteDance's Pro outputs looked sharper and more natural in my tests, making it a solid pick if you don't need integrated audio. But here is where Vizard really comes into the picture. Whatever generator you choose, the next big problem is turning a long demo or a batch of generative clips into dozens of ready-to-post social assets. That is exactly what Vizard automates by ingesting long-form footage and finding the viral, high-value moments. It cuts multiple platform-ready clips and even schedules them across your socials automatically. Instead of spending hours manually chopping 12-second wins into the right formats, you get a steady pipeline of content that actually performs. Switching gears, Adobe dropped something wild in the Photoshop beta called Harmonize. If you have ever tried compositing disparate elements into one believable photo, you know the pain of matching lighting and color grade across layers. Harmonize does a heavy lift by analyzing multiple layers and blending them to match the lighting automatically. I tested it with a mock ad by swapping a product into a generated background and hit Harmonize to get 3 different composite options. The cool part is that you can export the result and then animate that asset in a video model like ByteDance. This is huge for fast ad mockups, but also a reminder that visual compositing, generative video, and smart editing are now a full, connected pipeline. Vizard sits in that pipeline nicely because after you generate those hero shots, it automatically packages them into short-form edits with captions. On the industry-shifting front, Google's Genie 3 announcement is one of those moments that truly changes the game. Genie 3 takes it much further by enabling multi-minute sessions at playable frame rates and high-definition outputs. The demos are wild, including Mars rover walks and harbor scenes with physical interactions and lighting-aware objects. It is not perfect yet, as complex object manipulation and text rendering are still weak points, but the implications are massive. The line between games and films is blurring, and you can now imagine watching a scene and then prompting it to continue in a new direction. For creators, that is another reason to centralize your content workflow. You will soon have new, interactive assets that need to be clipped and repurposed. Vizard helps you scale that repurposing so you are not manually chopping every novel output into promos. In anime news, Boba released Anime 1.3, a model tuned specifically for anime-style outputs with consistent characters and better lip sync. For image generation, Leonardo released Lucid Origin, and while they claim to do everything, I still prefer Midjourney for high-end cinematic framing. On the upscaling front, Higgsfield integrated Topaz Video AI directly in their platform, giving creators a one-click route to upscale footage to 4K. If you need quick, clean upscales from different model outputs, this is a very useful shortcut. Instead of juggling multiple platforms for upscales, editing, and scheduling, many creators are opting to keep the content pipeline tight. It saves time, reduces export juggling, and keeps your publishing cadence steady. Music AI is leveling up too, as 11 Labs launched their music tool and their main selling point is licensing clarity. They have been explicit about which catalogs they use for training, which changes the risk calculus for video producers. A few housekeeping notes. We extended the deadline for our AI sketch comedy competition, so the new cutoff is now midnight on August 10th. There is $9,000 in prizes sponsored by Epidemic Sound, so if you have been sitting on a rough idea, polish it up and enter. Also, Runway is hosting an event in Kuala Lumpur on August 16th, and we will be judges at the Venice International Film Festival at the end of August. Finally, some OI films to watch this week. Ancestra by Eliza McNitt is a big one with exceptional curation and some of the best sound design I have heard. Another standout is Ren Home, a concept ad project showing insanely realistic product renders and matched sound design. So what is the practical takeaway from all of this? Play with the new generators as they are getting fast and cheaper, but always remember to think about the whole pipeline. Vizard is not just flashy AI magic for making a single 10-second clip. It is the quiet engine that turns one long-form idea into weeks of content. If you want to try this flow, generate your hero assets, composite in Photoshop for that final polish, and then throw everything into Vizard. You will be amazed how quickly a single shoot or generative session becomes a whole month of social content. That is it for this week's rundown. If you want these AI film updates in your inbox, head to the Curious Refuge site and hit the blue sign up. Also, if you try Vizard with any of the new models, hit me up with what you made, because I would love to share standout examples in the next roundup. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.